Welcome everyone to another episode of our Wisdom of the Heart video series. Today we have a really interesting topic. It's seeing with the eyes of the heart. No longer looking out, but looking in. And today I'm very honored to have our guest with us. He's joining us from Jacksonville, Florida, Eddie Lee. Eddie, welcome to the Wisdom of the Heart video series.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, and just so everyone knows that Eddie is blind, and he is going to probably give us a little bit of a history on what happened, and then we'll go into the topic. But I have two lines I'm going to start out with that expands on this seeing with the eyes of the heart, no longer looking out, looking in. It's from chapter 20, the first book of A Course of Love. And by the way, let me hold this up here. This is A Course of Love, and it's the second edition I'm holding up here. And the first receiver is Mari Perrone. Okay, chapter 20, Wholeheartedness, the Embrace, paragraph 8. And now we begin to see with the eyes of the heart. We are no longer looking out, but looking in. Within the embrace, our sight clears, and what we see is known rather than understood. And so that's all I'm going to read, and I'm going to go ahead and let Eddie take it away.
Yes. Thank you, Lynn. Wow. That's one of my favorite paragraphs from A Course of Love that you've chosen. We really do have what I call eyes of the heart, sight from the heart. And when we look, instead of looking out and we look in, that is when we truly do know. Because we're no longer using the mind, we're using the heart with the mind, but the heart and where the heart and mind are together as one. And now we know instead of understand. And I'd like to share, if it's all right with everyone, how this has become so important to me. 10 years ago, a little more than 10 years ago, actually, 10 and a half years ago, I lost my eyesight to a rare genetic form of glaucoma. And needless to say, I was depressed as all get out. It was hard. As I told you when we've talked before, Lynn, I could no longer put toothpaste on a toothbrush. I had to crawl. I couldn't spread mayonnaise on a piece of bread to make a sandwich. But by Christmas of that year, I was absolutely lost. I had originally found A Course in Miracles 2 decades before that, and had been introduced to A Course of Love. And I want to say here that even with those course materials, I was still depressed. And it was at Christmas time. It was 2 days before my birthday, actually, when I began just bawling, crocodile tears just rolling down my face. And because I thought my life was over. And I remember distinctly hearing the voice for love speak to me. from deep within. And the first thing, as I told you before, the first thing that I heard was go to blind school. All right. So, you know, which was like, okay. Um, and ultimately I did. Um, but the greatest thing, there were two things that I heard that night. One was being told that my life was not over, that my life was just beginning. That was the I think that was profound in that moment because I felt
Mhm.
so lost. I truly felt like my life was over. Um, I had to I had left work. I was a professor, and I just didn't know what I was going to do. But there was comfort in the voice to hear that my life wasn't over. It was just beginning,
Yeah.
and 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 I didn't question it. And then, as I shared with you before, I I had I knew how important forgiveness work was, but
Mhm.
I heard that voice for love say to me, "You haven't forgiven your eyesight for for disappearing."
Mm.
And
Oh, yeah.
then I was asked the question, why? Why are you resisting forgiving that? And at that point, I was bawling because I realized I had, I was holding a resentment against my own eyes, and
Mhm.
against my, and even against my genetics. Well, it was in forgiving my eyesight,
Yeah.
and it was in going to blind school that I realized I didn't have to, I didn't have to look out. I
Mhm.
to turn within, and I could see more clearly than I had ever seen before. I there was a knowing, and please understand, there's a difference in understanding and comprehending what you see out here versus knowing from within. It isn't. There really are no words to describe it. It
Mhm.
just is, and and I can I can even say that when I'm up and about and I'm um, you know moving about,
Mhm.
there can be things, there can be physical objects that are in my what would be in my way, but I
Mhm.
don't know it. But I I know it within, I know it in here, so I can then follow the internal guidance to navigate around it. And it, it's
Mhm.
it's it I think sometimes people, they stand in absolute amazement. How did you know that was there?
Mhm.
I can I no and I don't say I can see it, because that's
Mhm.
not, I know that they don't understand that,
Yeah.
but I say I can feel it. I
Yeah. That's
feel it. I feel it with the heart. And that is that I think is the difference. Understanding is all intellectual.
Mhm.
It's just thought. And but with the heart, there's a feeling, and
Yeah.
it is the knowing through the feeling that is
Mhm.
that opens
Mhm.
up, as I told you when we spoke before, whole whole new, like, hallways and doorways
Uh,
of things that I had no idea existed, but it's all within me.
yeah. And what a blessing in disguise. But you want to say a little more maybe about this communication, this inner experience? I
Sure.
remember something else we had talked about too, is where actually some of this inward experience of the feelings and this new heart to heart way of communication
Yes.
is it
Yes.
comes through images. Do you want to say a little bit about that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I there we're so used to speaking and communicating with each other through language, like you and I are doing now. Yet there is a deeper level of communicating, and that is with the heart, from heart to heart. I know in A Course in Miracles it says that our minds are joined. All minds are
Yeah.
joined.
Yeah.
We we must accept and allow our hearts to join.
Mm-hmm.
Now we speak in true communication. It's it's true language. It's language of the heart. There are no words. That it isn't. It's there aren't there. We're used to words being used.
Mm-hmm.
Heart to heart is all feeling. But from the feeling pops these images within the mind, and from the image, I can but no other way to put it, I can read the person, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not like psychic reading. That's not what I mean. It's
Yeah.
reading heart to heart, so that
Mm-hmm.
in that moment where true communication is established, here's the beauty. There is no misunderstanding that there can be from
Mm.
mind to mind.
Mm-hmm.
There is no conflict because there is no misunderstanding. It
Mm-hmm.
it's true communication. It's heart to heart. It's it's the flow of the feelings, but the beauty of it is it still will it still brings images to mind, and from those images now help within the communication, because
Mm-hmm.
it helps draw a picture of
Mm-hmm.
what's being said
Mm-hmm.
from
And
within the heart.
yeah, in the moment, right? Because I think you were describing this to me when we were talking before. Like these images, what really struck me is that these images, and I'm getting it, they're coming from the shared consciousness of unity.
Yes.
But these images that you see, um, are in the present moment. There's no past attached to them. Like you're not seeing something from the past. You're seeing something that's truly present and authentic now. And however it
Yes.
arises as an image, it gives you that inward vision of sort of like what's going on between the relationship, right, with you and that
Yes.
front of you.
You and whoever it is that I'm communicating with.
Mm-hmm.
And it is in the moment. The images come, and as I had shared with you several times before, I had eyesight for many decades before I
Mm-hmm.
lost it. So these images, like you said, aren't images of the past. They are, when they arise, they're very much in the present moment, and there is a knowing that the image that arises is there, not as a hindrance, but as something there to help within the communication stream, to help within the stream of the feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And um it and it also is there as guidance and direction,
Mm-hmm.
so that while I am in that present moment, in that feeling the beingness, the flow, these images that appear in my mind are signposts, which I never had said that
Mm-hmm.
to you before, but they
Yeah.
act as signposts. They guide me, and they guide me to move through that particular experience,
Yeah.
and there is no conflict. It's
Wow.
all from a place of peace, and
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that has to be yeah, that has to be unity. You want to say something too a little bit maybe about, how the course of love, I know you're saying like all
Hmm.
this is like a completely like a feeling heart experience, but
Yes.
the course of love, the wholeheartedness, it's one mind, one heart, and it's the wholeheartedness is more of the union of the mind and the heart.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
do you want to say a little bit about that? Because I'm hearing like your images are arising in the mind, but it's also the heart as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what and I'm glad that you brought that up because it is truly wholeheartedness.
Hmm.
It's the it's the it is where the mind and heart are now serving each other. The mind is no longer the preeminence. The heart has elevated and become one with the mind. So now there is a sharing between the mind and the heart, where the mind didn't used to trust the feelings of the heart.
Hmm.
There is an absolute trust, and from that trust now comes the knowing. And
Hmm.
I air quotes it. There's the
Yeah.
knowing,
Hmm.
and now the mind trusts the images
Yeah.
and can follow the guidance and direction from the images being provided by the heart.
Hmm.
That's the beauty of it. But it's the elevation of the heart to the level of the mind, and them truly unifying, becoming
Hmm.
one. And we use the term wholeheartedness, and I love that term
I do.
from A Course of Love.
Yeah.
It was I had heard the term before but didn't know what it meant.
Hmm.
Today, not only do I know what it means, I I am I've had experiences of it. I'm
Hmm.
very aware of its meaning, and I I will say this. You've never heard me say this, but I will say this. I today cannot imagine going back to the old way.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it, in fact, I, I shudder at the thought of it, literally. Because now um, I cannot imagine making any choice, making a decision
Hmm.
without being first informed by the heart.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's
That's
incredible.
it.
Yeah, that's
That's it.
it.
Hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, I wanted to hear maybe a little bit more well, you talked about being, and that's huge and, course of
Yes.
love too. It's only in being who we are. No, we in order to be who we are, we have to share who we are.
Yes.
And what
Yes.
we keep, we lose. And so it's a whole new way of beingness and living and living all these principles and concepts. Do you want to say a little bit
Sure. I
the
would
big
love to.
yeah,
I
go
would
ahead.
love to
Yeah.
because this is my favorite. This is my favorite part of all of the. I'm going to use the term courses,
Okay.
but A Course of Love allowed me to truly embrace beingness,
Mm-hmm.
where A Course in Miracles gave me gave me the insight, but I didn't have the lived experience with it. A Course of Love gave me now the lived experience of beingness, of being. And as I told you in another conversation, I it it comes from the law of being, from the law of being itself,
Mm-hmm.
and and where giving and having are seen as one.
Mm-hmm.
And the law of being, and I'll just say it real quick, the law of being goes: to give is to
Mm.
have is to be is to know. The heart, now you're into the heart. To be is to know. To
Mhm.
know is to feel, it's to experience.
Mhm.
From knowing and experience, we become aware of. And once we become aware of, we can now manifest or extend our being, extend ourself.
Yeah.
And it all starts with giving
Mm.
is in terms of service. And that's how I see giving. And
Yeah.
that brings me to the word embrace, which is what you started with the reading. It is literally embracing being,
Mhm.
embracing my beingness. And when I embrace my beingness, I am free to give, to extend. I am free to be my true self in all things. And and from that from that beingness comes the heart to heart.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
because I recognize the being that is in front of me in whatever moment it might be. In this
Mhm.
case, in this moment, it is you.
Mhm.
And I feel tapped in. I feel and remember, it has nothing to do with physical location or space.
Mhm.
It's heart to heart. This the communion of two hearts as one,
Yeah.
and that relationship, which is, as I call it, and as I learned it from A Course of Love,
Mhm.
that's God.
Yeah.
That's God.
Yeah.
And to feel it, there's a joy. I, there's such a joy in it, and there's this there's this eh, yes you know, I think sometimes people think peace is boring. There's this incredible joy that comes with peace, and this
Mhm.
incredible enlightenment.
Yeah.
And by light, I don't mean like light that you would see with the eye. This
Yeah.
lightness, and,
Mm.
and that's what I feel
Yeah.
right now, like with you. and
Mhm.
and that's the two hearts in communication.
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
and that's why I said
Yeah.
a couple of minutes ago, I don't ever want to go backwards.
And I know what you mean too about the joy. You feel alive. Something is
Yeah.
moving inside of you. And I call it the living waters of truth begin to move. And there is a beautiful joy with that. And I feel very joyful just being with you here, Eddie. Um, yeah, there's a couple of things. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you wanna I was just gonna say too that you have an assistant, like, if you want to, like, maybe uh just give us a little bit like what your day looks like or whatever kind of. I know you have a Course of Love group on
On
Saturday, I'm sorry,
Sundays.
Sunday
Sundays.
afternoons at 4:30 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie has a Course of Love group. It's on our A Course of Love website under the online groups. And he has
Mm-hmm.
a beautiful assistant who helps him in so many things. And do you want to just say a little bit like your day looks like? Like we don't know what,
Sure.
blind man's
Sure.
world really looks like. At least I don't.
Yeah, that's well, I'm glad you asked. Um, because I would like to start with, I used to think when I was working how busy my life was.
Mhm.
It is nothing like it is today. But this isn't a busyness. This is this is a this is a love in action. So it's not busy work. It's it's always love in motion, love in action. And I I have a wonderful assistant. She and I are very good friends. We see each other um, just about every day. We work
Mhm.
together.
Mhm.
Um, and she she if it's all right, I have written several books. She actually helps me edit them by reading them to me, and
Oh,
we can,
okay. Yeah.
once written, she helps with that. um and I have a little church that I started,
Mhm.
and she helps me with that as well. And I I have the course of love class on Sunday,
Mhm.
and I have wonderful friends, friends of the heart that that I um, that I speak with,
Mhm.
meet, but it is always about expansion, growth,
Mhm.
it sharing from the heart,
Mhm.
and um, my my days literally begin at 6 a.m.
Mm.
and I, for a lack of a better word, work until about 11 p.m. at night. And
Wow.
I it again, it isn't a busyness. It is a love. It's love in action because I truly want to give away what I have been given.
Mhm.
And I do not see the loss of my sight as something to be pitied.
Wow.
I I look at it now as the best thing that ever um, that I ever received. It was the greatest gift of my life, and
Wow.
and I and if I can give to the world even 1% of what I've been given as a result of it, I feel blessed.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
and it is sharing. It is and it comes from sharing the truth,
Mm.
sharing sharing our beingness, the
Mhm.
truth of what we are, and allowing the Christ within to live me.
Mm. That's so
In other words,
beautiful.
losing my eyesight got me out of the way so that the
Oh my
Christ
God.
within
Yeah.
could live. And here's the beauty of it. I didn't lose me. I did not lose me. I gained a whole part of me. I I I I I didn't know. I did not know. And every day I discover more and more and more.
Mhm.
And I, I and I will say and I will end what I'm saying with this, and to God goes all the glory.
Yeah. That's
And I'm
it. You
wow.
know, yeah, I love that. When you were speaking, what was coming up, I stepped back and let him lead the way, or my life is for God. I give it all to you. And so it's like you're in that open channel. It's like it's not about like a personal self, Eddie. Like you are just truly aligned with the true self, capital S. And I can just feel your joy and beauty of your heart, Eddie, and I'm so honored to know you. I know I
Well,
can
thank
call
you.
you. We talk on the phone, we text, and you have your scanning devices, and you read Kindle.
Yep.
You have the Alexa app. You can listen to Kindle and all these amazing things that are available for blind people these
Yes.
days. But yeah, so we're kind of up in our time, and I just wanted to see if you had any one last thing you wanted to share before we close.
I do. And I will make it very quick. And that is, don't forget to embrace everything.
Mm.
But more importantly, embrace yourself. Embrace yourself. And from that embrace, you will embrace the whole world, and you will see it with the eyes of the heart.
So beautiful. Thank you so much, Eddie. Oh, God, it's just a joy to be with you. And
Thank
just
you.
want to thank everyone out there, for our viewers, for listening. And yeah, peace, love, grace, and blessings to everyone. Thank you all. Thank you, Eddie. Can't say enough how much I love
Thank
you.
you. I love you too. And thank you to everyone who listened and for being a part of my life, whether I we ever meet or not.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye, everyone.